Hi, this is Philip Mason with Incredible Fathers. I'm excited to be with you here today. I have some insights that I'd like to share in regards to couples that have been married for quite a while, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, maybe 40, maybe even 60 years. And I've noticed this about a lot of different couples that I've observed over the years, and some of them within my own family and some of them without. And sometimes I've observed myself doing this, and I, I realize that it's a bad habit, but I would just want to share these few things with you in hopes that we could um, recognize that it can be poisonous in a relationship and that it can cause problems and might actually be a symptom of larger issues. So I just want to identify a couple things for you. First, I want to talk about complacency in a marriage. And one of the things that I see a lot of times with good marriages, and these are good marriages I'm talking about, is that a husband and a wife, they will everything in their lives will be seemingly really good. So their children will be in good shape. Their children will be healthy. Things seem to be going pretty well financially for them. They're getting spiritual nourishment. Work's going well for them. Their home is nice. It's pleasant to be in their home. They have a lot of things just going really well for them. But they tend to they get comfortable around each other. The husband and wife get comfortable around each other, and they start nitpicking each other, and they start complaining about each other, and they start saying things like, well, you didn't take the laundry upstairs like you were supposed to, or you forgot to pick up that plumbing piece from the hardware store last time you were there, and you always forget to take out the trash when I tell you to. And they start nitpicking at each other back and forth, and everything else and what they're doing is really great, but they start getting on each other's cases, and they start complaining about, you didn't do this and you should have done that. And I notice that in really good marriages and with certain couples, and sometimes there's deeper underlying issues there, but a lot of times I think it's just a complacency or a malaise that they're in, where they just get comfortable being around each other, and they forget to be courteous and kind, and they forget to nourish each other and to get rid of that negativity out of their marriage. So that's the first thing, is just complaining about each other and over just little minor things that really don't matter a whole lot, and they forget to be gracious and kind to each other, and to give each other some breathing room. The second thing that I like to talk about is sarcasm. Sarcasm, to me, I think is so poisonous, and for anybody in any type of relationship, I would actually recommend getting rid of sarcasm altogether. I know a lot of us love sarcasm, and we think it's funny and it helps us survive difficult times, but really in a relationship, especially in a relationship so important like marriage, you just have to get rid of it altogether. Like, it just doesn't even belong in the marriage. So especially on couples that have been married for a long time together, if they're not real happy about something their spouse is doing, maybe their spouse is spending a lot of time on the golf course, maybe their spouse is a little overweight and it's bothering them, but whatever it is, they just need to cut that sarcasm out. And the way to handle this is actually to have good, solid conversation with your spouse and say, hey, I've identified this issue, and I know that it's an issue for me, and I don't know if it's an issue for you, but this is something I'm struggling with, and I want you to know I'm struggling about it, and have a good, robust conversation over it. The second thing to do in handling it is to actually write about it. So get a journal, maybe you have a private blog, and just write about some of the things that you're struggling with, and write it down. Just kind of dissect it, break it down into the different components, and understand why it is that bothers you, what bothers you and why about your spouse, or something you see about yourself that your spouse is getting on your case about, and figure out how you fix that and how you get rid of it and move it out of your life so it's not an issue anymore. So this really could take a lot of marriages that I've seen from really great to even better, and just really exalt that marriage and make it really high and great. And so many couples that I've seen, they just, they're pushing hard, they're working hard, they're doing the best they can, and so they're producing a really good life for themselves, but sometimes they get complacent and they forget, and they start nitpicking on each other, and they start complaining about each other under their breath, or sometimes in front of the other person, or they use sarcasm, and that just kind of it lowers the value on the marriage and the quality of the marriage. And really, to be exalted in one's marriage, you really need to get rid of that stuff out of the marriage. Also, just one last thought in parting here. a lot of times I see couples do these actions like sarcasm or complaining about each other. They'll do it in front of other family members or in front of their children or their grandchildren even, or in front of friends or neighbors or out in public with complete strangers. And quite frankly, when I see this happening, it's kind of embarrassing for me to see other couples doing this because I know the pain that it's actually causing deep down inside for them. And I know that it's causing frustration there for them. And their marriage could just be so much richer, so much happier if they would just cut it out. So if nothing else helps you, just understand maybe you're causing someone else some embarrassment by acting this way, because it's not a good behavior. It's kind of childish, actually. So kind of keep this in mind as you think about your marriage, and have a good discussion with your spouse and figure out, is this something I'm doing in my marriage, and then write about it, and you'll start seeing an improvement in your marriage and make a goal to eliminate that out of your life. So this is Philip with Incredible Fathers. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.